Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, and now continuing with my countdown of reviews for my picks for the top 10 best animated DreamWorks movies. Now here I am with my review for my choice for number 3, which is Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. So, yeah, before I talk about anything really about this film, really, I guess it just makes sense to just talk a little bit about Wallace and Gromit in general first. So, yeah, when I was a little kid, Wallace and Gromit really were, two of my favorite characters ever. I mean, like I told you before, I really do, love claymation. I really do appreciate all the work that goes into this. And, yeah, I just really was a freak for claymation growing up. There were two things of claymation that I really did love growing up. One was Gumby, and then the other was Wallace and Gromit. Yeah, I mean, Wallace and Gromit are kind of along the lines of Winnie the Pooh, just because, I mean, they're just, really so innocent. It's really just really impossible to really not like them. And yeah, well, I really did love those three short featurettes. That's that Aardman Studios or that Aardman Animations had made. It involves in Gromit like a grand day out, the wrong trousers, and a close shave. Yeah, I really did like the three of those a lot. Yeah, and yeah, those three shorts were kind of sort of different from this movie in a way because, yeah, those movies really didn't have too much of the funny element to them. Even though there were some really there were some jokes that were funny. Yeah, this film really does focus more on the funny aspect of it. But yeah, I really did love those three featurettes. Like A Grand Day Out, I thought actually the premise of that was pretty funny, where Wallace and Gromit would actually go to the moon for some cheese. I actually did think that it was funny that the moon literally was made of cheese in that one, yeah. And the wrong trousers and a close shave, those ones actually were kind of darker than A Grand Day Out was. Those ones really weren't really had much of the funny element to them. Those actually did have darker premises to them. And the wrong trousers, Wallace needed to make some more money, and so he had a penguin rent a room in the house. And yeah, it turned out that penguin really was a wanted criminal or something. And so yeah, the penguin just was really menacing and stuff. Yeah, and a close shave, that one was Wallace had fallen in love with this woman, but yeah, the woman's dog was really menacing, and it was later revealed that he was a robot dog. So again, like he the dog ends up kidnapping a flock of sheep or something, and so Wallace and Gromit end up saving the sheep and stuff. So yeah, those three shorts really were very enjoyable, and they did have some funny element to them. So yeah, I really did love Wallace and Gromit growing up. And when I first heard about this film being made, I actually was pretty excited for it. Since I really did love Wallace and Gromit, I was really excited to see a full-length feature film made with them. And when I saw this film, I really did love it. This film really was just really great, really. This just really had pretty much just everything Wallace and Gromit really was about. I mean, it just had of course, Wallace and Gromit still really likable. The premise actually was pretty creative. Of course, by the title, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, this is pretty much kind of a kiddie kind of version of a werewolf story. So yeah, I did think it was pretty creative, the route they chose to go with it. And yeah, like I said, this does have more the funny, comedic element to it than those three featurettes did. And yeah, I think it all works out really well. This is just a really great film. I'm not really sure if I can really say that this really is the best thing Wallace and Gromit really have done. I think maybe the featurettes may have actually done this a little better. I watched Nostalgia Critic's DreamWorks review for this movie. He thinks just the story for Wallace and Gromit, especially with this, I don't. He says that he didn't think that this really was meant to be a full-length feature film, and he thinks it did work better as the shorts. But I do think that this film does work off pretty well with the full-length feature. And yeah, it just is pretty. It just is a really great film, really. Yeah. In this film, you have of course Peter Sallis reprising his role as the voice of Wallace, and yeah, of course yeah, or Wallace. I forgot to mention he's of course a really eccentric inventor, and he really does have like a real obsession for cheese. Yeah. And yeah, Gromit, like, he, like, doesn't talk. He's basically like a real dog, and he doesn't talk. But yeah, Gromit doesn't actually have a mouth, so I've always, like, questioned, like, how Gromit really can eat when he doesn't have a mouth. So that's just something that's I've always questioned about it. But yeah, and this film also does have, like, people like Ralph Fiennes and Helena Bonham Carter providing voices in the film, too. And yeah, I do think that this film is pretty great. I mean, it just is really well written. It has a very creative premise with like I said before with the werewolf kind of story, but have it like be like a child oriented sort where like instead of a wolf, it's a rabbit. And yeah, I just thought that the premise for this film actually was pretty creative, and it does have some pretty funny jokes to it. You know, this just is a pure example of just how great Wallace and Gromit really are, and this is just like such a great film. I give this film 3.75 stars out of 4. I mean, it is just like definitely worth a huge watch. But yeah, if before you actually do watch this film, especially if you've never seen anything Wallace and Gromit related before, I would definitely recommend that you watch the featurettes before you actually do watch this film. Yeah, I really think that the featurettes are a better way to really be introduced to Wallace and Gromit than if you would watch this film first. So yeah, definitely like if you haven't seen anything Wallace and Gromit related before, definitely watch the featurettes before you watch this film. But yeah, I still do recommend this film after you've seen the shorts. So yeah, just a really great film overall. Alright, so let me just get right into it. Alright, so yeah, in this film, like, it shows that Wallace and Gromit are now, like, really, like, they now have, like, a pest control business and stuff, the anti-pesto, and yeah, they are, like, they have the job of, like, preventing any rabbits from stealing or damaging any food in people's gardens because, yeah, in, like, Toddington Hall, the town that Wallace and Gromit live in, they're having, like, a giant vegetable competition coming up, and, yeah, they all just, of course, like, want their giant vegetables to be protected. Yeah, there's stuff like giant pumpkins, giant carrots. Gromit is like making a giant marrow. So yeah, they're basically just all these giant vegetables being made. And yeah, Wallace and Gromit have the job of just like making sure that they're safe from any sort of thievery or anything, and to make sure rabbits don't get to them. And yeah, Wallace and Gromit end up like capturing all the rabbits that they find trying to steal, and they end up like caging them down in their basement or something. Yeah. And yeah, as the event like is getting closer, like Wallace is like running out of space to cage all the rabbits. And so then, yeah, Wallace then ends up like creating like this machine that has like a mind manipulation thing, like the mind manipulation omatic. And yeah, Wallace had like the intention to like brainwash the rabbits, and yeah, because yeah, Wallace was like trying to reform his diet or something, or Gromit was putting him on a diet, and so Wallace like wanted to make himself think to eat healthier. So he was like trying to brainwash the rabbits, and he was trying to like switch personalities with them or something. So then like Wallace would have an appetite for vegetables instead of the rabbits. Yeah, and yeah, and it turns out like in town there's this like there's a lady Toddington, and who's like this woman that Wallace ends up like falling for, and yeah, she like asked Wallace to like come to her home to like take away and capture all the rabbits in her yard. And as it turned out, like Lady Toddington has a, a boyfriend or fiance or something, Victor Quartermain, and yeah, he is like some kind of hunter or something, not really sure what. Yeah, he's a hunter, and yeah, he like is like really despising Wallace and Gromit's business, this and stuff, and yeah, he's basically just like really against Wallace in this film. Yeah, and yeah, once like Wallace has shown that he did have interest to Lady Toddington, and that caused like Victor to really like grow jealous of Wallace and stuff. Yeah, and eventually like Wallace tried to test out his machine, Heen, and he was like using it to try to brainwash the rabbits to do what I was talking about before. Yeah, and yeah, the machine seemed to be working well first, but then yeah, after like something went wrong, then like one of the rabbits ended up like being sucked into who like Wallace's head, like the part of the helmet that Wallace had over his head, yeah. And then yeah, that just ended up like causing the machine to just go RE and stuff, and then yeah, Gromit then just ended up destroying the machine to save Wallace. And yeah, then it showed that the machine then appeared to work, and it showed then the rabbit that fell in Wallace's helmet really didn't seem to have any interest in vegetables. But it also showed that the rabbit seemed to have intelligence, and so yeah, then Wallace ended up then naming the rabbit Hutch and stuff. Yeah, and then it like uh, over the night then it, like the next morning it was then like reported that like a bunch of town folk like were talking about there was a giant were-rabbit that was trying to eat their vegetables and stuff. Yeah. And then yeah, Lady Taunton then just held up like an emergency meeting about the were-rabbit. And then yeah, Victor was like offering to shoot the were-rabbit, but yeah, Lady Tonnington then just tried to persuade the rest of the town to just let Wallace and Gromit continue their business and stuff, yeah. And then Wallace then like suspected that Hutch may have been the were-rabbit, and so then yeah, Wallace and Gromit ended up like just caging up Hutch. Yeah. And then, but then, like later that night, as like Wallace and Gromit were like on their pest business and stuff, as they were trying to like try to lure the were-rabbit to them, and they made like this fake woman were-rabbit to try to lure the were-rabbit over. But yeah, of course, like nothing happened at first. But then, as like Wallace like wandered, like set off to do something, then like Gromit then like saw the were-rabbit running, and then Gromit gave chase to the were-rabbit. But yeah, he was not successful in catching the were-rabbit. Yeah. And then the next morning, like Wallace and Gromit then like noticed that inside the house there was like a set of huge rabbit tracks, and yeah, Gromit was following them, but then he saw that they eventually like were turning into human footprints, and they ended up leading to Wallace's room, and then yeah, Gromit then like caught on and realized what happened. Stuff, yeah. But then yeah, later that night then Victor was like, of course, now jealous of Wallace, and he was like then like later that night confronting Wallace. Wallace and in the forest like he was really cornering Wallace. Wallace and yeah, Victor's dog Philip was like preventing Gromit from coming out to help Wallace and causing him to stay in the truck. But then yeah, as the full moon then came out, then showed like as Philip was trying, oh not Philip, Victor was trying to attack Wallace. Wallace then just threw Victor back, and then yeah, Wallace then gave a smile and had the two big buck teeth, and then yeah, that's when it was revealed that Wallace was the were-rabbit, and then it showed then Wallace transforming into the were-rabbit, and he was just like a really huge rabbit. And yeah, it's funny how yeah, it showed how Wallace as the were-rabbit was like howling like a werewolf, and whenever he did, it showed like all the like regular rabbits were like joining in with him to howl, which was pretty funny. Yeah, and yeah, eventually then Wallace as the were-rabbit ended up just like bounding away. Yeah, and yeah, Gromit also like saw the transformation too, and so then he ended up like luring Wallace back home. And then yeah, Victor then like went to the town's reverend, and yeah, he like was given like three 24-karat gold bullets to destroy the were-rabbit. Yeah. And then the next morning, like it was shown that like Wallace now in his human form, he had like the rabbit ears, and it was also yeah. Then yeah, Gromit showed Wallace his rabbit ears, and then yeah, he just showed Wallace that really he was the were-rabbit, and it also was revealed that Hutch was now like pretty much becoming Wallace, and yeah, Hutch just had like Wallace's entire personality. Yeah, yeah. And then eventually, like, Lady Toddington was, like, trying to pay Wallace a visit, but, uh, yeah, yeah, and, yeah, she found out about what Victor's plans were, and she was trying to tell that to Wallace, but, of course, like, that was when, like, the moon was coming out, and Wallace was starting to transform into the were-rabbit, and he was basically just trying to send Lady Toddington off, and, yeah, eventually did, and, yeah, Lady Toddington just got the impression that Wallace just didn't like her, and he didn't want to see her. And yeah, she just ended up like leaving in tears. Yeah. And then yeah, then Schultz and Victor then arriving and was trying to shoot Wallace with those bullets. But yeah, Gromit then like used the fake woman were rabbit costume that they had, and he was just using that to lure Wallace away as the were rabbit. Yeah. But yeah, then Victor was just then giving chase to Wallace, and Wallace was heading towards the competition. Yeah. But yeah, as they were like Gromit and Hutch, then used the giant mirror Gromit was growing, and they were just using that as bait to lure Wallace to safety away from the competition. Yeah, and then Wallace eventually arrived at the fair, and then yeah, he was just then like creating a bunch of chaos as the were rabbit. Yeah, but and then yeah, actually then Victor like ended up running out of the bullets to destroy Wallace, and then yeah, he then just ended up like grabbing the golden carrot trophy that the winner of the giant vegetable competition would receive, and he was just gonna try to use that as ammo to destroy Wallace. And then yeah, Lady Toddington was trying to stop Victor from doing that, but then yeah, Wallace then arrived as the were-rabbit, and then he eventually ended up grabbing Lady Toddington, and yeah, he then just climbed onto one of the towers of the city, and yeah, it was Lady Toddington then eventually discovered that Wallace was the were-rabbit, and yeah, Victor also gave chase, and then it was then revealed that he's basically just was wanting to impress Lady Toddington for money and stuff, yeah. And yeah, Victor was just continuing to give chase to Wallace, and at the same time, like Gromit and Philip were also like getting into a fight too, and yeah, they were like using like airplanes from like a ride at the fair to chase each other down. Yeah, and it was funny at one point as like Gromit and Philip were fighting, like the plane just like stopped because like the time ran up for the coins, and yeah, they just had to like stop fighting to find another coin to put in, and yeah, and then yeah, they eventually then yeah they put another coin in, and then as the plane continued to go, then they continued to fight. Yeah, but eventually yeah, Gromit ended up then just caused caused Philip to fall down to the ground. Yeah, and then at one point as Victor was about to actually shoot Wallace. Then like Gromit got in the way, and then yeah, he like took the plane Gromit was riding took the shot the bullet, and yeah, the bullet and well the I guess the golden carrot and like hit Gromit's plane, and yeah, the plane then was like starting to fall down, but then yeah, Wallace then just ended up like jumping off the tower, and then yeah, he basically acted as a cushion to break Gromit's fall. Yeah, and they end up falling into like a cheese tin. And yeah, as like Victor was kind of like now starting to celebrate that he had destroyed the were-rabbit as he thought, Lady Toddington then just ended up like hitting Victor with her giant carrot. and then he was knocked into the cheese tin, and then as like the townspeople were like forming an angry mob to go to the were-rabbit to learn his identity, then like Gromit ended up like putting Victor in like that fake were-rabbit suit, and then yeah, the mob and like of course thought that was a were-rabbit and then chased Victor off. Yeah. And then it seemed that Wallace ended up like being dead, and yeah, he then transformed back to his human form. But then yeah, Gromit then like revived Wallace by using some stinking bishop cheese. And then yeah, Wallace then like woke up. Yeah. And yeah, then eventually Lady Toddington then just awarded the golden carrot to Gromit for his sacrifice. Ice of the giant marrow, yeah. And later on it was then like shown that now the grounds of Toddington Hall were now like considered sanctuary, and then yeah, Hutch and all the other rabbits that Wallace and Gromit had captured were now uh, set free into the sanctuary and stuff. Yeah, and then it just ended with like Hutch being shot into the air and just like yelling like cheese or something, and then yeah, then that's how the movie ended. So yeah, like I said before, 3.75 stars out of 4. This is definitely like a really great movie. Yeah, like I said, this just is really everything Wallace and Gromit really has been about. And yeah, like I said before, I would definitely recommend watching this movie, but only if you have watched the featurettes first. Yeah, so yeah, watch the featurettes first, then this film. But yeah, still definitely a recommended film after you watch the shorts. So yeah, definitely a really great film overall. Alright, so yeah, that does it for my review of Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, so yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.